Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. In the workplace, being older can be 1, 2, or even 3 strikes against you. Quietly, they may whisper, "He's deadwood. We need fresh blood." Sometimes it's obvious they're putting you out to pasture. You're given less important tasks, your budget's cut, you're left out of key meetings. Or the signs can be subtler. For example, at meetings, they rarely agree with your suggestions or even ask a follow-up question for you to explain. In the break room, they don't sit next to you, let alone welcome you into the frivolity talk. Well, the following ideas may help you avoid striking out and may even help you hit some home runs. First, some tips for on the job. You needn't adopt all of these, but maybe one or more might work for you. Get branded as a wise elder. You could, for example, offer to mentor young employees or new older ones. Or at meetings, you could say things like, "I ran into a similar situation a number of years ago. We tried X and Y, which failed, but Z worked well." To boost your chances of coming up with such goodies, when you receive the agenda for an upcoming meeting, try to think of such ideas to bring up. That effort to brand you as a wise elder can be reinforced if you can recruit a younger champion, someone respected, perhaps an up-and-comer who likes you. Maybe they can recommend you to run or advise on some central project. At meetings, that person might ask you, for example, "Joe, you've seen so much. What's your thought on what's wise to do here?" Might your job description get changed so you're paid more on your acquired wisdom than on how much you crank out? For example, could you angle for a promotion to management, or informally do process development, or assist employees or customers in solving problems? Should you skill up? Some of the antipathy toward older people is based in substance. Many older people aren't technologically up to snuff, or they learn slowly. Is it time for you to learn something key to your job or what your job could be? Should you take a high-efficiency approach to learning? For example, self-study the company's newly adopted software, getting an tutor to help you over the rough spots? Or should you take a highly rated practical short online course, for example, on LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, or Udacity, or in person, for example, at a local college's extension program? Should you shut up? You don't want to exemplify that stereotype that older people are long-winded. When speaking, practice the traffic light rule. It's this. During the first 30 seconds of an utterance, your light's green. For the next 30, it's yellow. That means the chances are increasing. They wish you'd shut up. At the 60-second mark, your light's red. Unless you're telling a clearly interesting anecdote or explaining something that truly requires a bit more than a minute, shut up or ask a question. Also key to avoid being seen as long-winded is, in a two-person conversation, talk no more than half the time, roughly 25 to 50% of the time. Everyone, but especially older people, have times of the day when they're more or less productive. Typically early morning is a productive time, mid-afternoon less so. In any event, try to save your difficult, important task for your best time. Many older people lament a declining memory. The term CRS, can't remember shit, has become cliched. If so, it helps to regularly use your phone's voice memo feature or a paper memo pad to jot down items you might forget. Now the next set of tips is in looking for new work. First of all, don't try to hide your age in your resume and cover letter. Sure, that might land you an interview, but as soon as they see that you're older than your application implies, they'll feel deceived and so be unlikely to hire you. A solid resume, cover letter, and especially having a person refer you for the job can often enough land you an interview without you having to claw out of the hole you created for yourself with a deceptive application. One of age's advantages is that you've had a long time to accumulate people who like and respect you, and that is often key to getting hired. That's true for job seekers at all age, but more so when you have age's strike or two against you. So, query the 10 to 20 people who most like you and are in a position to refer you to potential employers. Ask crisply, not desperately. For example, after a good run at Acme Corporation's accounting department, I'm looking for a position where I can use my skills in auditing and in setting up efficient processes. Might you know somebody I should talk with? It's unlikely they will at that moment in time. So when they say no, ask if they might keep their ears open for you, and if you haven't landed something in a month, if they'd mind you circling back. Most of those people will agree, and now you've recruited a number of scouts. Let's turn to the interview. Sure, as soon as they see those wrinkles, many job interviewers will be thinking, nope. Of course, they won't say that, if only because it's illegal, but chances are, unless they too are a boomer, they will be thinking it. You've got to preempt that objection before it becomes ossified. At the earliest opportunity in the interview, you must sell your age as a strength. Start with something like, I imagine you're wondering whether you should consider a gray hair like me. I might mention that, and then you cite whatever of the following are true for you. I'm technologically up to speed, for example, and then you insert some software that you know is important on the job. Or, my years of experience are going to be valuable on this job. I've often addressed problems like those that come up here. Give an example. Or, over the years I've developed quite a network of people I can call on as customers, suppliers, sources of advice, and even to recruit to come work here. Or, I'm in good health and excited to hit the ground running. I'm a good fit for this job because, and then you give some reason. Or, because all my kids are grown up, I won't need to take days off or even parts of days off for childcare. Or, being older, I've gained some perspective, which enables me to keep a steady rudder, stay calm when problems come up. Another tip if you're a job seeker and older, consider fields in which your age is a plus. A few examples: insurance, senior housing, working for the Social Security Administration, selling or in any way involved in durable medical equipment. I had an older client who was hired in a cosmetic surgery clinic to handle administrative matters and answer nervous patient questions. Her age was a plus. Less obvious fields that are a plus for older people are those in which the product's expensive and thus affordable mainly only by older people. Boats, luxury cars, airplane leases. Even less obvious, architectural services. And being involved in big-ticket commercial real estate, skyscrapers, stadiums, hotels, resorts. Then there are fields that aren't mainly for boomers, but where older people are an under-considered niche. For example, while many people pursue a modeling career, fewer people that are 50 or older do, and yet many ads picture older people. Or how about being an image consultant and a personal shopper who specializes in older people? I need to make particular mention of fundraising careers. Most people have acquired sufficient wealth to make big donations only when they're older, and such people would generally prefer to be solicited by a boomer than by a millennial. Also, traditional mainline employers tend to be more wrinkle-friendly. For example, consumer goods companies like Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson or Clorox, or transportation companies like railways and airlines, and America's largest employer, the government. Be a consultant? Consulting firms exist for everything from administrative assisting to software implementation, from process efficiency to executive team building. Your years of experience give you credibility that a younger person just can't have. You needn't be a self-employed consultant, which requires marketing skills that many former employees lack. Marketing is the consulting firm's responsibility. Your job is to provide the expertise you've acquired over the decades. And the final section of this little talk is what I call pre-retirement, advice for before you retire, pre-retirement. No matter where you are in the totem pole, it's wise to develop a thoughtful succession plan for yourself. That benefits both the organization and you. That'll give you a feeling of positive closure by helping to identify and train the person who will replace you, while having your replacement person increasingly take some of your tasks. That can free you up to take on capstone tasks that'll help you go out on a high rather than fade away. Draft that succession plan, that glide path to retirement, and review it first with a trusted colleague confidentially in case you change your mind or the timeline. Then, when you feel the plan and timeline are solid, share it with your boss for input and buy-in. An under-considered part of a succession plan is to include one or more what I call last hurrah projects, those that would excite you or at least help keep you motivated during your last period of employment. Here are a few examples. If you're a marketing person who in retirement would like to be a fundraiser for a nonprofit, you might try to get permission to visit marketing people in top quality nonprofits to gather ideas. You can then summarize them in a report that you'd present at a staff meeting, in writing, or on video. Another example of one of these last hurrah projects would be, let's say you're working in a social service agency. You might request comp time or even use some of your vacation time to visit parallel agencies in other parts of the country, or even parts of the world. Again, you'd be returning with a report to share with staff. One more example, give talks at your field's professional conferences. That's an opportunity to share your years of experience while burnishing your company's and your own reputation as a wise elder. The takeaway, I hope this little talk's ideas can keep you well employed all the way till you decide to retire, and maybe even result in your having saved your best for last. Thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.